Well, here's another wonderful YouTube video direct to you from my residence in Cody. You can see the time behind me. And just learning how to do this. Wow. I don't have any flashy lights. I don't have any cameras set up. I just got my phone. And so hopefully you'll overlook that when listening. All right, then. Now it's set down. What do I want to talk about today? Incarceration. Yes, everybody's in prison. I do jail ministry, and everybody on the outside is just as much a prisoner as everybody else. I'm a prisoner. I'm not a prisoner. I'm free. Well, freedom is not depending on where you are, what you're doing. It depends upon the actual definition of freedom, which is knowing the truth, which will set you free. People live in a cave, they just go about in their rut, a grave with the ends kicked out in their daily life. Wow, it's just amazing how people are dead while they live. So I want to try to pierce through that garbage. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. I even post videos on Facebook. I feel like I'm a square peg in a round hole. I feel like, who's listening? Well, hopefully you are listening and take action. To be in prison. When I first did prison ministry, they dragged me to death row, and I got to talk to them. What a deal. What an introduction. Okay, come and join this ministry. You're going to get murdered. I didn't, but that's kind of what I thought could happen. So the trials and difficulties is the only thing that's the entranceway to you getting truly free. So let's look a little deeper at this. The pregnant pause. Okay. I'm talking to you as if you're the only person that exists. Don't think about the person over there, your other comparison of other YouTube videos. No, this video is meant for you alone to pierce your gut, to get you to really think about where you are, where you're going, okay? Most everybody doesn't do this. They just kind of float along, got their YouTube videos, they conglomerate a lot of information, they die. You could die at any moment. And what happens? Whether you believe in God or not, it don't matter. He believes in you, and you're going to stand before the Messiah, the Son of the living God, and give an account for what you did in your life. He knows everything about you, and you're going to come up with some excuses. Matthew 7:21-23, these guys even raised the dead, cast out demons, and Jesus said, "Get out of here, I never knew you." I thought he was the gentle Jesus of Christmas, right along with Santa, Satan Claus, and right along there with all the elves. And there's some good Christmas movies, but give me a break. Nothing to do with reality. Anyway, so when you get alone by yourself, most everybody is not comfortable with that. We got to get up and do stuff. We got to get the show on the road. We got to, I got to be surrounded by people. Get by yourself for a span of time and see how comfortable you are. Thoughts will race, and you're like, what do? You want to get up? No, you got to sit there and take your thoughts captive. And you've got to struggle through all that stuff to finally, as it were, break the sound barrier and get into a place where you're comfortable with yourself being alone. Now, again, few people do this. I'm just painting it for you the way it's supposed to be. What happens when you get there? I want patience and I want it right now, that kind of thing. Well, you gotta go through the pain to get the gain, okay? If you're able to do that and spend time alone and be comfortable being alone, I used to be really comfortable being alone walking a long trail. Man, it was heaven on earth. But guess what? When it got done, I had to go back in society, and it was horrible. Okay, so I'm not talking about that kind of aloneness. I'm talking about where you're actually very comfortable with who you are, your identity. Most people don't even know their identity. I mean, it's like, well, I do this and that. No, your identity is who you are, regardless of what works you do. Okay? So you begin to discover some really profound things, and most people cannot handle the pain, so they get up and go back to life, never thinking or believing that God is watching everything they do. I mean, we all live like atheists, you know what I mean? Oh, I believe in God. Yeah, I go to church. Big deal. If you're living like God isn't watching you, what good is that? Okay, so the heart is deceitfully wicked. We've all sinned. The Bible declares this. We have a free will to think up anything we want to do. Why did God give us that? Well, He doesn't want robots anyway. We can do whatever we want to do, whatever we put our minds to. You can succeed, become CEO. You can be the best. What's the problem? J.D. Rockefeller, at one time the richest man in the world, was asked how much money would make you happy, and he said, $1 more than I already have. Well, that's very interesting. So we're trained to pursue the American way, or whatever way. And we're trained to grow up, go to college, get a good job, provide for our families. We've done it. You could die at any moment, and all that stuff's going to mean nothing. How many people realize that? How many people realize they're incarcerated in a prison of their own souls? Very few. I'm here. No, I'm not Santa Claus in disguise, although I've been, two little Spanish kids came up, and in Spanish I found out they were trying to ask me for presents. Well, that was a kick in the head. But anyway, you got to sift through things like that. And you got to come down to rock bottom. You have got to basically realize that what you own is not who you are. You have to, in your heart, give up that stuff to God. He's going to take it anyway. And you have to end up totally humbled, down on the ground, because that's when you can first see God for who He really is. There's a progression after that, but this video is basically to set you up. I don't know how many people are going to look at this. I even tried my other video to pay some money to promote it. I don't know how that works, okay? I'm not real computer savvy. I don't know. I was brought up to write pen and paper and, and just rotary phones and all that. My goodness sakes. The AI thing is exploding. And you know what's going to be that wonderful mark of the beast? I believe it's going to be an AI-generated computer that's going to come and say you got to take a mark. What's the mark of the beast? It's basically this. You got to have wisdom, it says, to determine the mark. It's 666, which people go all over the planet with. No, you got to have wisdom. And the bottom line is, the wisdom to determine that means that when you're in that crunch and people are dying and your family is starving, you got to take that mark in order to feed your family. It's reality. What are you going to do? You're probably going to take the crazy mark, and guess what? You'll end up in the lake of fire. Look, it's a narrow way. This is not a simple thing. Coming to know God means you're going to die to your selfish desires. Come join this club. You're going to die. How many people would join, right? So to encapsulate and close off this message, I just want to say, please be on guard. Know your enemy, the invisible enemy. Know that God always sees you and that you've got to give an account, and He wants you to make it even though few will make it. Okay. Let me just close this off. See you later.